Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I've got 4 Oncidiums to repot. 2, I don't know what they are, they're probably twinkles. They came off mounts, lost tags. This one I know what it is, that's actually an Oncidium species, Chiraphorum. And this one is the one that had the 6 spikes from Vernon's that's coming into growth now, 3 new growths coming. Oncidium Barocco, so a hybrid of some sort. Right, these 3 have been in their pots the same amount of time, and it's long enough, and all of them have started to get some algae. They spent an amount of time without going in a black pot, my fault. This one's never been out of the pot since I got it, so I haven't got a clue what's in there. Multiple plants, so scissors are in rubbing alcohol, that sort of thing. Get that out of the way now. You've seen it, and it's hot. I'm not used to this. It's a novelty and it's most welcome. It's, what is it? I have to do an average between 2 because they read different. It's actually 24 degrees in here. That's 24-25 is as high as I'd like it to go, believe it or not. But the sun's gone in now, so it will start to drop down again. I feel incredibly lethargic today. I don't know why. I often get that when Hannah's been down for the weekend and you're bouncing conversations and doing meals together, working on the garden, and then it all goes quiet. And I don't feel like doing anything. So I thought an essential ingredient as it's warm, we'll have a glass of beer. I think that's the first, no, it's the second glass of beer this year. Right, so we do what we normally do, get them out of the pot, tidy up, and then shut down, get rid of the mess, come back with some media and get them back in pots. They may well go back in the same pot. Now, let's get this one out. This, quite honestly, is in a pot that's a bit too large for the size of the plant. It's had a lot of grow stones in it. Now, I'm hoping to do this with minimal root disturbance. Obviously 2 plants put in the same pot. This is a habit I think I might try and stop. But I haven't got an awful lot of jets going over this morning. Might be the same one who's practicing landing or something. So what we've got here is the latest new growth coming up here. That's it. And we have some roots coming off the previous bulb. And we have a lot of dead roots. So first thing is I'm going to take that oldest bulb off. In fact, I'm going to take both of them off. So that one comes off. Separate it again. That one's already separated. I think this might have been... That is a nice little plant to grow on. It's got a nice new growth, it's got some new roots coming out, it's got 2 bulbs. So that's that one. This one, again, we got a new growth coming here, new growth coming here. Not much sign of new roots, but there are some. And then we have a rotten bulb there that needs to come off. Apart from that, this one, the rotten bulb there as well, tiny little one, old seedling bulb. Right, and again a cluster of dead roots. So that's 2. Is that worth keeping? Don't think it is. That new growth doesn't, oh, I don't know. It's just got so little backup. Tiny little new growth on an old bulb with that one needs to come off. It's broken anyway. That leaves that. It's not worth keeping. Not worth keeping, I'm afraid. We've got 2. So now we'll give them a bit of a clean up. We've decided which bits we're going to keep. And now what we do is get rid of the dead bits. So dead roots on here are underneath those bulbs. So they're quite distinctive. So they can come off as a lump, like that. Yeah? That's not far off it in one go. You can see a couple of others. So there's no point in going mad. There aren't many good ones. I'm not worried about the bits of bark stuck onto roots I'm keeping. That can stay. Yeah, that root's gone, so it can come off. That releases some of that bark as well. Another old one there. So that'll do. So we've got 2 new growths, one pushing on nicely, and a smaller one with some tiny little nubbins, and some backup with the bulbs, but not much. But all 3 of those backup bulbs have got leaves on. Yeah, so they can photosynthesize. They might be a bit shriveled, and we might not have many roots, but you know. Now, I'm not mucking about with the scissors. These both came out of the same pot. They're the same plant. So what have we got here then? We've got a new growth and dead roots basically, but we've got some nubbins of where new roots are going to come. But we haven't got much in the way of live roots, but we have got some new ones coming, so providing they get in some suitable media. That lovely long root there is dead as a door now. That'll do. So that's those. We've got to keep them together because they've got no tag. So that's that, and they're definitely not going back in that pot. It's far too big. Right, that's one. Next we'll do this one again with no tag. Right, and what we got here is 2 plants again. This one does have a new growth coming behind this sheath. Just about. I can't get that sheath off without. Can't quite get in there. I'm going to damage that growth if I do. Got a shriveled, totally disintegrated bulb there, so that can't stay. That's shriveled with, we end up with a bundle of roots that are effectively dead. So the whole root system comes off. Now that might seem drastic, but there's some nubbins at the base and a new growth. It may grow. This one, again, rotten bulb and 2 back bulbs with no leaves. So this one's got very little support at all. And again, no decent roots. See, those might not be bad. Certainly not as bad as the others. I'll leave those on, except for that one. And those couple in the middle there, I can see they're dead in the old part of the plant. So there we got that. That's hardly worth keeping, quite honestly, seeing as I don't even know what it is. These are rescues, by the way, so I mean, this one isn't a rescue, believe it or not. This has actually got some lovely new growths coming, and we do have roots. This has just been in the pot a while, so this is just to refresh the media. I might try and take some of the old part of the plant off. Roots are not very good at all. See, when you see that on an Oncidium type, that is a cluster of dead roots. Chances are all of those roots come off of the same bulb, and it's an old one. There won't be any new ones in amongst them, and there never will be. They need removing. They make space. So I didn't put my scissors in between those plants, did I? Oh dear! Look at that! There's a planet falling from the sky. Yes, I am being facetious. It hasn't gone all dark, has it? No, I think we're okay. Right, so this is Sheriforum. Have we got separate plants here? I'd be very surprised if this isn't separate plants. Yeah, there we go. And probably again there as well, yeah. Well, it's good when they do this because they're separating where all the bits that I want to cut off are. Right, so we've got a piece here, 2 new growths. We have manky old bulb there, can come off. That one can stay because it's holding everything together. And in amongst here we have some reasonable roots. We also have some non-reasonable roots. But the non-reasonable roots are a bit thin on the ground, not worth making too much of a fuss over. So there's one. That'll do for one. Let's put this one over there now. What we're going to do with this bit, this has got a single new growth. Again, the old part of the plant needs coming off. And that's what I'm on about. When you get a mass like that on an Oncidium, every single one of those roots is dead. And the reason it's dead is they are old tired roots on an old bulb that's long since ceased to function. So they come off in a lump together. And we see what's left. And in this case, hardly anything, I suspect. Take too many of the back bulbs off, then the plant loses its support. It's where these old spikes are. Hidey holes for bugs. Not that I've got many bugs at the moment, but don't want to give them an excuse. Right, so this piece is going to end up with virtually no roots. But it has a nice, reasonably strong looking new growth where new roots will come from. So all those old bulbs we've got to do is support this long enough for that new root, for those new roots to come, which hopefully won't be too long. We're into the growing season now. I'm not going to take any more off because it will remove the support. So we've got one leaf supporting that lot. And then here, again, the old part of the plant on this one was the centre, and that is often how an Oncidium will grow. It will literally push out from the middle and keep growing new bits around the outside, and you end up with a circle of new plants, and the old bit in the middle is dead as a doornail and eventually just disintegrates, leaving a ring of new plants. They often don't all survive though, so you lose that ring effect. You don't see it. It's not like a fairy ring, as the expression goes. Now this one has got a few more better roots. Those aren't bad, they're worth keeping. That one's not. There's an awful lot of aircraft about today. So there we go, that's those 3, 4 and their tag. And then we've got the big one. And I haven't got a clue what's inside here. Now the chances are this is a plant that Sarah bought in spike, and it's not been potted by Burnham's. Although it may well have been. The old polystyrene bits in the bottom is one of Burnham's traits, but these roots are dead as a doornail. I'll try and... I've been keeping this quite dry because I didn't know what was in the pot. It's actually quite dry. And this does look like Burnham's bark. But now you can see the difference between a set of live roots and a set of dead roots. These are dead roots, these are good roots. And more good roots coming. So get this in some new media, this should take off. But all of these, all this central point here is not for keeping. Just get it off. Just drop the lot. And you leave the roots around the outside of the plant, which are the ones that tend to be the good ones. Oh, these are all bad. Left with them. Right, so that's not a bad plant. Do we want to keep that? Don't think we want to keep that. And then we have a tidy up, remove sheaths. It's more for the look really. These old bulbs are not going to bloom again, they're just support with a leaf for the new growths. Once the new growths get going and get their own leaves and their own root systems, these old bulbs sort of, their function gets reduced right down. But while the new growths are growing, they're quite important to supply energy and nutrients to where the new growths are coming, especially if you've got a poor root system. So what we've got there is a sequence: an old bulb, single leaf, a bulb with its full set of leaves and a strong new growth, but no sign of new roots yet. There's nubbins at the base of that one. And then here you've got a bulb with a full set of leaves and two new growths, both tucked inside. Oh, there's another growth there that I missed. So this one here that I said a strong new growth, it's actually got two. It's got one on the other side just starting. So there's 4 new growths on there, and 2 of them are tucked inside sheaths, and I do my best to get rid of those if I can. And that will these new roots now can get potted. Otherwise they'd have done that like that one is. They head for the sky, and then they're no good to man or beast. And this one's not so bad. I don't know though. I think it ought to come off. Yep, I think we'll try and take it off. It's already split, which is good. It means it's in 2 pieces. But yeah, if it's out of the way, the new growths stand a much better chance of their roots becoming established much quicker. So there we go. That's not a bad plant, and we've still got quite a few dead roots just there. I was coming at this plant from the other side, wasn't I? I missed that. But these tangled, old, tired, dead roots in the centre of a plant that you often get, they're better taken off. They're better out of the way. They're normally in a cluster. You can often cut them off in one go, one snip. So we've got a few live ones left. Branching root system, so they're liable to carry on growing, these few, yeah? And we've got 4 new growths, and we've got some new roots coming around the back of the plant. This could come off, making it a much smaller plant, but it's quite plump and it does have a leaf, so I think it can stay for now. Let me think. No, it can come off. I'll need a bigger pot if I keep that, and it doesn't need a big pot, yeah? So I'm going to take it off. Just forgot that again, didn't I? As I said, I'm a bit tired and lethargic at the moment, I'm afraid. Oh, there we go. It's mostly old dead roots that came off with it. So that's a nice plant now with 4 new growths, 2 bulbs with good sets of leaves. So, and that was, that's actually got a tag somewhere. There it is. So those are the 4 things to be potted up, the 4 plants, all in pieces except for one, which is a self-contained plant. All the others are bits. They will get crammed into the smallest pot I can possibly do. So tidy time, and I'll be back. Okay, I've sorted the pots out. They're all going to go in the same mix, which is basically small bark and perlite. No moss. I've got 4 small pots. Well, one's a reasonable size. So I'm not going to need a huge amount, and it's easy enough to mix some more. Always put the warning out I'm sure you've heard it many times before, if you're messing about with perlite, watch the dust. It's dangerous, don't breathe it in. So if you're getting clouds of dust coming off your perlite, then get a mask on. I mean, I keep my head well back so that the dust has time to settle. I don't measure, I basically look. I know the look I want. I know how much white I need to be in this mix. And that's about it. That's about what I want. So, there we go, we get that out of the way. I'll put the lid back on in a minute. Get that out of the way before I knock it over. And there we go. Now I've got two with no tags. So we've got, that pot is for the bigger plant. And quite honestly, I'll do that one first. We just will get that one out of the way. Now we've got new growths. I've got one odd new growth which is in a bit of an awkward place and it'll have to find its own way in the world. These three growths here, I want to have room to expand. So that's my logic in positioning the plant, is I want those three new growths. Now you notice the plant's quite deep in the pot. There's a reason for that. You get the stuff all threaded in between the roots, which doesn't happen very easily if your roots or your pot or your plant is wet. And then I can lift the plant up a bit, put a bit more in. And the new growth should be sitting on the media. And this is probably going to be self-supporting. Right, needing a stake. And then I'm just going to push down the outside on this one because there are no roots down the outside, and that will push the media into the plant. Yeah, by pushing down the outside you compress. So that's that one done. I'll leave the original tag in it because I can't be bothered to do a new one. So that's that one done. Next, look at the pot I found. Oh, I'd love to get some more of those. Non-see-through, non-transparent, shallow, yeah, shallower than the normal ones and quite wide. Lovely little pot. And again, this one, quite shallow and quite wide. These were probably from a nursery or something. Now, there's several plants here that have got to go in one pot, so that's what the wider one's for. Let's see if we can get these in a position where the new growths have got plenty of room. So we'll have that one there. I don't want to be repotting these again in a year's time because they come out over the top of the pot. And then this one with the two new growths, that can go there. How does that look then? This one needs to come round here a bit. That one's okay. Right, as soon as you're happy with them, get the media in before they fall over or move and you change your mind. So the media is there to settle them in. Then this one needs rearranging, so the new growths are at the front. That one is okay, and that one needs coming up a bit because it's sunk. So there we go, a little bit down the back there. There we go, I'm not pressing down, I'm just going to do a bit of pressing down the outside just to push the media in again. The water will settle this in. And that's that one, and that has got a tag. So that can go there. I'll put the tag in back to front in that one. Can't read it from the inside of the pot, can you? You need to read it from the outside of the pot. Right, and then I've got these two little tiny pots. So this one is for these two little tiny pieces. piece here with no roots but a new growth and some nubbins. Might not make it. And then this piece here has a new growth with nubbins and a few roots. So something like that. Lean that one up against that one because that's got nothing to hold it in the pot. It's got no roots, so it's just going to sit on the surface basically, and hopefully the new growth will produce some roots. I don't hold a lot of hope for this thing, quite honestly. In fact, I'm going to take it out. It's just going to cause me grief otherwise. So that leaves us with one little plant with some roots and a new growth in the centre of the pot, with plenty of room to move. And then here we've got another 2 to go in the same pot. 2 new growths here with a few roots and a new growth there with some roots. So both with roots. So new growths towards the centre of the pot. Do. A bit round the back before I set all these into their position, which is about there. Lifting that one up a bit because it's got a new growth right in the middle. We've got a gap around the back. Right, there we go. So everything will get a water now, and the water will have a bit of seaweed in it. Not a lot, just a taster, and hopefully that will encourage some roots. So we've got 2 rescues to hopefully grow on. One that wasn't a rescue but looks quite like it, which is actually my species, my Cheriphorum. That should pick up quite quickly. And then this one, providing we get some roots on the go, we've got 4 new growths on here, so that one should be fine. So there we go, relatively quick repotting, and I'll see you next time. These were in a set. So they were last repotted around the same time. So they came, you know, to be repotted together. I've got a lot of my Odontoglossum types that are on the list to be repotted. Now they shouldn't be repotted when it's liable to be warm. They are cool mountain growers, basically, Himalaya jobs and things like that. So they shouldn't be, is it Himalayas? Or are they South American? I can't remember. But at the end of the day, they're cool growers. They grow quite high up. They're coming together, but they shouldn't be repotted when it's liable to be warm. So you either do it quite early in the spring or you leave it till autumn. And looking at their date, they're not directly due to be repotted yet, but they've got sphagnum moss in the pot, which I don't like leaving in there too long. So I may try doing them in the autumn. It's not a time I normally repot, but if there's signs of root growth, they're going into the cooler period, which is a good time to repot them. And there's a set of them. I think there's 5, maybe 6. So we may be doing all of those together, but I don't think I'm going to leave them. As I said, their repot date doesn't make them due yet. I think it's only just over a year. And where are we now? May. Yeah, I think it was March or April a year ago. So they've only been in their pots just over a year. So I'm relying on that sphagnum moss not to have broken down. So they can go till autumn. And that's a nice set. You know, we'll do them all at once because they'll all go in the same media again. So, right, that's those done. See you next. Oh, tomorrow is the 8th, so we will be doing everything in bud, spike or bloom on the 8th. I think it might be quite a quick video. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.